All right, welcome back. Today we're diving into something, well, something pretty wild. It's called the Honey Badger Management Framework. Now, is this the secret to building hyper-fast elite teams, or is it just a recipe for high-stakes chaos? Let's get into it.
Okay, I want to start with a question for you. Just imagine this. You take your team, you split it right down the middle, and you force them to compete against each other on the exact same project. The winner solution goes live, the loser's work gets thrown in the trash. I mean, how does that even sound to you?
Yeah, for most of us, that sounds like an absolute nightmare, right? You're basically trading collaboration for a winner-take-all death match. Knowledge sharing goes out the window, replaced by knowledge hoarding. Stress goes through the roof, and you might even get actual sabotage. It's a textbook bad idea. Or is it?
Well, what if I told you there's an entire management system designed to take that raw, competitive energy and actually channel it for good? That's the whole idea behind the Honey Badger Management Framework. It literally takes this idea that we all think is terrible and builds a whole system around it.
So here's what we're going to do in this explainer. We're going to break down how this radical framework actually works. Then we'll weigh the scientific evidence, what holds up and what doesn't. And, most importantly, we'll discover the one role that's supposed to keep the whole thing from blowing up.
Okay, let's pop the hood and see what makes this thing tick. You gotta understand, this isn't just one single idea. It's a whole system built on 4 interconnected pillars, and they're all designed to work together to create some serious speed. Pillar number 1 is all about speed. We're talking ultra-fast, 7-day sprints. But here's the kicker. They can be canceled at any moment. This is all based on something called real options theory. Just think about it like this. It's like paying a tiny refundable deposit to hold something at a store. Every week, you decide if you still want it, which means you minimize your risk of making a bad investment.
And look, this isn't just some random idea they pulled out of thin air. The science here is rock solid. It's backed by financial economics, it's been proven time and again in manufacturing and in software with DevOps, and there are even mathematical proofs for it. Smaller batches just work better.
So for Pillar 1, short cycles, we're giving it a really strong grade, an A-. This part of the framework is built on a very solid foundation.
But, a great foundation doesn't mean a thing if the rest of the house is about to fall down. Which brings us to the big, controversial question. Does pitting your own teammates against each other ever actually work? And yeah, when we get to the competition part, the grade takes a nosedive. We're talking a C+, maybe a B- on a good day. This right here is the framework's biggest gamble. It has huge potential, for sure, but it is loaded with risk.
So here's how it works. 2 subteams go after the same problem, winner take all. The idea comes from something called tournament theory. But listen, the most important word in that whole phrase is governed. You have to think of it like a pro sports tournament with a super strict referee watching every single move. Take away that ref, and the whole thing just descends into chaos.
Okay, Pillar 3 brings us right up to today, AI teaming. The idea here is that AI isn't just a tool, like a calculator. No, in this framework, AI assistants are treated like real, accountable members of the team, integrated directly into the workflow to make everything go even faster.
So for this one, the evidence gets a solid B. We have a ton of research showing AI can make individuals more productive, but here's why it's not an A. What we don't really know for sure is how this affects the team as a whole. Collaboration, quality, all that stuff in the long run. So, promising, but the jury's still out.
And that brings us to our 4th and final pillar, redundancy. By having 2 teams work on the same thing, you are intentionally creating a backup. The metaphor is perfect. It's like having a backup generator for your house. Sure, it seems kind of wasteful up front, right? But it makes the whole system so much more resilient if something or someone fails.
This pillar, it gets a nice, strong B+. This idea comes straight from reliability engineering, and it's a proven concept. Having that backup reduces your chances of a catastrophic failure and helps you hold on to knowledge. It's a really solid part of the framework.
Okay, so we've got this engine, right? It's built for insane speed and power. But what happens to an engine with no governor? It redlines, and then, boom. So now we need to meet the one person whose only job is to keep this whole thing from exploding. Meet the guru.
And this quote right here just lays the danger bare. It comes straight from the research. The people who designed this framework know this is the big risk. So you see, this isn't some unexpected side effect. No, it is the #1 risk they are actively trying to manage. So the whole thing hinges on how you manage that risk. The guru role has 4 key jobs. First, they enforce a hard and fast no sabotage rule.
Second, they're constantly taking the team's temperature with weekly psychological safety surveys. Third, they're the neutral judge, making sure everything is fair. And fourth, they force the two teams to help each other in these mandatory help sessions.
This table really brings it all together. It shows you exactly where the tensions are and how the Grun is designed to step in. They're the one managing the risk of sabotage, making sure psych safety doesn't crater, and preventing people from gaming the system. They are literally the human safety valve on this incredibly powerful but also incredibly dangerous engine.
Okay, so that's the theory. Sounds pretty wild. But how on earth could you actually try this without, betting the farm on some unproven idea? Let's talk about how you could turn this from a crazy theory into a real, practical experiment.
First things first, you need to know what you're even measuring. The gold standard for this is the DORA metrics. They're simple. You have 2 for speed, how often do you ship code, and how fast can you get it out? And you have 2 for stability. How often do your releases fail, and how fast can you fix them? It gives you a really balanced picture. Once you have those metrics, you can actually design a little experiment. You start by getting a baseline, see how your teams are doing now. Then you run the experiment for a quarter. Now the key here is you have to monitor this stuff like a hawk, both the performance metrics and the safety scores. And this is critical. If that psychological safety score drops, you pull the plug. Game over. Then at the end, you compare the data and make a smart decision.
So after all that, what's the final verdict on the Honey Badger management framework? Well, it's a coherent idea. All the pieces fit together. It's a testable hypothesis, but, and this is the most important thing to remember, as a complete, integrated system, it is totally unproven in the wild.
And that really leaves us with the final question, the one you have to take back to your team. Is that potential for insane speed, for extreme velocity, worth the very real risk of turning competition into a weapon inside your own walls? That's the trade-off. It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.